right, we are live.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us virtually today as we prepare to launch the next phase of our House Wake strategic plan. This phase will benefit Wake County residents who are struggling to make their rent payments due to the impacts of COVID-19. And joining me today are Wake County Manager David Ellis, Wake County Housing Affordability and Community Revitalization Deputy Director Ed Barbario, Telamon Corporation Executive Director Suzanne Orozco, and Legal Aid of North Carolina Managing Attorney Pamela Thomes. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hear from you all shortly. So we know the pain and stress of COVID-19 is being felt all over Wake County since March. We've seen it take its toll in so many ways, physically, mentally, and economically. In May, you may remember, the unemployment rate in Wake County skyrocketed to 11.5%. But in July, we saw those numbers come back down to around 8%. And while that's still higher than in the days before COVID-19, it's still a hopeful sign for our recovery. As we look at the statistics, one fact is clear. Many of our residents' lives have been impacted severely by COVID-19, all of us in so many ways. But as a result, some of them now face losing the roof over their heads and security for their families. So in a normal, or shall I say typical year, the Wake County eviction rate is just over 3%. That's around 400 households per month. We know 2020 has not been a typical or normal year. You may have heard about the Cdc Eviction Moratorium, which protects eligible residents from eviction until January. And while that's a great move on the federal level, we cannot wait until January to offer housing assistance to residents struggling to make ends meet. So by getting in front of this now, we can help folks get caught up on rent payments or find alternative housing solutions. Our action today, and this was a unanimous action by the entire board with support of staff, will ensure that we don't see a large wave of evictions filed come New Year's Day. So the need is clear, and Wake County and our community partners are here to help. And today, I'm excited to announce the launch of the House Wake COVID-19 Eviction Prevention Program. Like the name says, this program is aimed at helping residents and landlords avoid evictions. Now, we never want people in Wake County to experience homelessness, especially now. It's been a major initiative of this board of the last several years. We've established a affordable housing department. We've done a lot of work in that area, made a lot of investments in our community in that area. But with coronavirus continuing to spread through our community, having a home has never been more important. It is a basic need for all of us, and that need is being threatened at this time for many folks in this crisis. You can't be safer at home when you don't have a home. And so the House Wake COVID-19 Eviction Prevention Program is here, and it's a three-step process. The first step is eviction prevention. Through a partnership with the Telamon Corporation, which we're grateful for, we're providing financial assistance to tenants and landlords to cover rent shortfalls. Step 2 is eviction mediation services. We're partnering with Legal Aid of North Carolina to provide free legal support to residents already going through evictions or in the need of legal services. And finally, step 3 is relocation assistance. We're helping relocate residents whose housing could not be stabilized through steps 1 or 2. So why is this important? Through these 3 steps, we will not only prevent renters in our community from being displaced, but we will also ensure that landlords receive a portion of the money they're owed. Both are good for our residents, both are good for our economy. So our message today to the greater Wake County community is simple. If you're a renter, there's assistance available to you to help you stay in your home and catch up on late rent. If you're a landlord, there's assistance available to you to avoid the legal actions that come with pursuing eviction. We believe as a board and as a county government that this will help both parties involved from losing their homes or losing their income. Now, to help explain the program in more detail and share how residents can apply, we will turn now to Ed Barbario from our housing department. Morning, Ed.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Ford. You know, I'm very excited I'm very excited to be here with you and to share more about this really powerful program, which has been many months in the making. I'm proud to say that Wake County has committed up to $17 million of CARES Act funding to this endeavor. You know, using those federal funds, we estimate we can help more than 3,000 households in the Wake County avoid eviction. And as Chairman Ford mentioned, step one of the program will focus specifically on eviction prevention by providing resources to tenants and landlords. We will cover up to 50% of the tenant's unpaid rent from the months of March through December of this year. In return, we're asking landlords to forgive the remaining 50% of rent payments owed during that same 10-month time frame. In 2021, the landlords must discount rent by 25% for the months of from January through March. They must also agree not to pursue eviction while the tenant is receiving help from our program. If the tenant and landlord can't reach an agreement, we will refer the tenant to Legal Aid of North Carolina for free legal counsel to negotiate filed evictions or provide any additional legal services that they may need. If this also fails, the tenant would be eligible for emergency relocation assistance to help them find new housing. We know this is a stressful time for people who've lost jobs or suffered cutbacks at work, so we've made the application process for House Wake as straightforward and easy as possible. Getting help shouldn't be hard. To qualify, you must be a Wake County renter with a legally binding North Carolina lease, have been financially impacted by COVID-19, not received any additional forms of rental assistance, such as Section 8, and while there are no income requirements, we will give priority to those who fall in the low to moderate income category. If you meet these requirements, you can apply online or by mail. Visit wakegov.com/housing for more information about the program and a link to the website where you'll fill out an online application and submit supporting documents. You can also request help that an application be mailed to you by calling 919-899-9911 or emailing housing@telamon.org. You know, to prepare for the projected influx of applications, we sought a project administrator who could help oversee steps 1 through 3 of our step 1 of our process. On August 11th, we announced Telamon Corporation as that administrator. Telamon will help coordinate all the applications for assistance, handle the intake of prospective clients, and facilitate payments to approved applicants and landlords. Telamon is one of 4 organizations partnering with us on this very important program. The other partners include the City of Raleigh, Legal Aid of North Carolina, and the Raleigh-Wake Partnership to End and Prevent Homelessness. Together, we will all work in lockstep to prevent the renters in our community from becoming homeless because of COVID-19. And now, to speak further about Telamon's partnership, I'd like to invite Suzanne Orozco, the Executive Director of Telamon, to give a few remarks. Suzanne?
All of us at Telamon are excited to join Wake County on this important effort to help those impacted significantly by COVID-19. As facilitators of step 1 of the program, our goal is to help as many people as possible avoid having to use steps 2 and 3, which would be a great success. Since 1965, Telamon has helped people access services that lead to better jobs, better lives, and better communities. One of our core lines of business is providing housing and financial empowerment. Through the application process, our staff will provide guidance and answer any questions quickly and efficiently. Households should be able to receive some type of communication from us within 72 hours of submitting their application. And the sooner we can get help out to the residents who need it the most, the better. Telamon is really proud to be part of this important program, and we appreciate the opportunity to serve the public during these challenging times.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Ed. This program is going to make a profound difference for a lot of people in our community. I look forward to working with our partners in the media to get the word out. All of us on the board do, and so we can avoid as many eviction filings as possible. Now, I'm sure the reporters joining us this morning have some questions. Thank you for being with us today. To help answer them, I'd like to invite Wake County Manager David Ellis to join Ed, Suzanne, and me. So, Dara, would you mind sharing our first question, please?
This morning. So if anyone has a question that's a member of the media, please type your question into the chat box for us. Select the everyone option from the drop-down menu, so all of us will be able to see the question and we'll be able to read it and provide the appropriate answer. So while we're waiting for our first questions to come in, I think it's important for us to realize how much work the board has done in promoting affordable housing and how this really kind of falls under that umbrella that the housing department has been working on so hard over the past year or so since it formed. So I'm not sure, Chairman Ford, if you'd like to take a moment on behalf of the board to talk about how important it is to make sure that everyone has a home here in Wake County.
Sure. Thank you, Dara. And yes, this has been a major goal, major initiative of the board. It has been for several years. This basic need of affordable housing, we often talk about many needs in Wake County, but we know that access to food, food security, and housing security are key basic elements. Many populations and groups of folks are thriving and prospering in Wake County. There are many others that are not. Some populations disproportionately affected. And so the same is true with COVID-19 infection rates and also a disproportionate affectation of those who are being displaced from homes or threatened being displaced from homes, particularly those who are low income, frontline workers, and those who are meeting most basic needs throughout our community. And so this effort on behalf of the board, with staff support and certainly with our community partners, for which we're so grateful to have here in Wake County, is a coordinated response to not only the existing but also anticipated affordable housing and housing shortage needs that we see coming on the horizon with the eviction moratorium at the federal level expiring at the end of this year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We've had our first couple of questions come in, so I'll read those in the order in which we received those. The first one is from Celeste Garcia with WUNC. She says, Wake County will pay up to 50% of back rent. Is there a numerical limit for that 50%? For example, only up to $5,000 per renter? So Ed and Suzanne, perhaps you could help us answer that question?
No, it's just 50% of the rent. There's no numerical limit.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. And she has one additional question, that is, to be eligible for help, residents have to be impacted by COVID-19. Will applicants have to prove their impact? So that's the first question, and then I'll move through her additional questions after that.
So I don't, you want me to take that, Ed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're accepting a variety of types of documentation. It could be something from the employer. It could be as much as a self-attestation. So there are a variety of documents that we'll accept to show that proof of impact.
And don't forget, too, that the proof of impact will have to show it started in March, which is when the federal government came forward with its assistance that we could use to help folks. So that's from the time frame. So if it's prior to March, it won't be too useful.
And she also would like to know, is there a requirement for how much applicants need to be impacted in order to qualify? In other words, how much does someone need to be impacted to be eligible for assistance?
Were you going to respond, Ed?
Okay, I didn't know.
No, there is not any kind of measure of that, no.
No.
So as long as there's been some impact that can be shown during the correct time frame, the person could be eligible for help.
Sure,
Yeah,
that impacts their ability to pay rent, sure, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because what we're asking is that folks that have been, they have a valid lease, a valid North Carolina lease, and they've been paying their rent and they were fine. and then say they lost their job, or they had a serious health issue, or there was some reason that the COVID impacted their life and their financial situation. Because, we all want to pay our rent. We all want to be good, tenants, and, we want to secure our safe housing. And it's not by choice that people aren't paying their rent. It's just as definitely as a result of the effects of COVID. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking to help those people that have had that financial impact directly as a result from the COVID, and we'll be pretty broad in what we'll accept towards proof of that. So again, our goal here is to help as many people as we can.
Great. Thank you, Ed. We have another question from Sloan Heffernan with WRAL. She is asking, would you please talk a little bit more about how step one would work?
So from our perspective with Telamon, we would either mail, or we prefer that folks get on the website and fill out an online application. We will be looking at those, and within 72 hours, let people know if we need additional information. We will be collecting additional documentation once we establish their eligibility, and we will be in contact with then their landlord to make sure that see if they will agree to participate in this plan. And if so, then we will work out a joint agreement and process payment to the landlord directly. If the landlord chooses not to participate, or the person is for some reason not eligible, then we would let them know. And if the landlord chooses not to participate, we will work with the coordinated system in the county and make a referral over to North Carolina Legal Services.
And also, as we mentioned earlier, that we're trying to make this process as easy as possible. So if you're one of those renters that's in this situation, you feel that you've been affected by COVID and you would like help with your rent, you go to the website that we've shown, and it's an online application, and you don't have to do it all in one sitting. It's pretty easy. It's very intuitive. It takes you page by page, step by step. You fill in some information, and if for some reason you don't happen to have that information handy, you can save your application and then go find what you need to find, and we will save that up to 10 days. And once you save it, you will get an email back with a link to your application so that you can get back in and continue the process. And in that online process, it tells you exactly what types of documents we're looking for. You'll provide some information about yourself and your situation. And again, we're trying to make this as low a barrier model as we can.
Great. Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Suzanne, for those answers. We have a few more questions that have come in while were speaking. These are from Anna Johnson from the News and Observer. She's asking, this is expected to help 3,000 families. Do we have an estimate need, for example, how many households will need help in Wake County?
Well, that kind of the funding that was set aside, and it's up to about $17 million. So we did work with a nationwide expert that helped us set up this program, and we tried to take our best educated guess on what the need might be. But of course, again, it isn't an educated guess, but it is a guess. So we're hoping that we're going to be kind of on target with it, but we'll see. We'll start taking applications. We'll start helping as many folks as we can. And we'll just see. And if additional resources is needed, I'm sure that they might be found somewhere. So, and I know that the commission is fully supporting this. So I'm sure we're going to really help as many folks as we can. And it's wonderful to have that kind of support. And just from them, it's just awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have one follow-up question for Anna. She wants to know, do we have an estimated eviction rate if the moratoriums had not been in place? Or how many evictions are expected in January?
I don't have the information at my fingertips. I know that originally when we mentioned that we were a couple of months in this process, we knew that the original moratorium was going to end in the summertime. So we were frantically gearing up and racing to try to get ahead of that. And then once the CDC, of course, issued its extension of that moratorium, it gave us a little bit of breathing room and also gave some respite to those renters. So that's why we're trying to roll it out now, though, because we do know that come December 30th, if the government or if we do not get another extension on this, that we're going to have a whole lot of evictions coming through the process. And in addition, we're trying to also protect our landlords, because these are the people that are providing the housing. And we all need to have money. We have to pay mortgages. We need to protect our housing stock. So landlords don't start losing their properties too, and puts us in an even worse situation for our housing needs.
Great. Thank you, Ed. Ben, do you have any other questions that have come in to you?
Yes, Susanna Perry asks, if a person is not eligible for step 1, would they be excluded from the program entirely?
Well, good.
No, I was just going to say, I guess it depends on what makes them not eligible. So if the landlord chooses not to participate, then they wouldn't be eligible. So we would refer them to the North Carolina Legal Services. And if they were not impacted by COVID, then they wouldn't be eligible, I'm assuming, for any of the 3 services. But Ed, you may be able to talk more about that.
Right. And there is no income limit on this program, although we are targeting those folks that are basically 80% or less of the area median income. So we're trying to get the assistance into the hands of those that probably need it the most, with the thought being that people that make a higher income level have more resources available to them that they can help keep themselves housed. But having said that, really there's not, it's a pretty low barrier model. And if you are a renter with a lease, and you've been paying rent, and you lost your job because of COVID, it's really very simple qualifications, So, or you had a health impact that maybe you were in the hospital for 3 months or 4 months, God forbid, and you just couldn't pay your rent. So again, the whole focus of this program is to help as many people as we can. So we're really looking for ways to help as many folks as we can on this. We're not approaching it to whom we can exclude, but to whom we can bring in and help.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'd like to mention as well, Ed, Suzanne, everyone watching, is while this program may not be able to encompass all of the needs in Wake County, Wake County still does have existing programs that have been implemented in recent years in particular to provide housing support, affordable housing rental assistance. We have permanent supportive housing programs, homelessness prevention programs, home ownership and housing services programs. So this would be a good public service announcement opportunity to invite folks to go to the WakeGov website and check out our affordable housing links. Many of those programs and qualifications for those programs are there as well. So if this particular program doesn't meet a citizen's needs, there may be some other programs that do. So please check those out.
And we have one additional question from Anna from the Know. She wants to know, can legal aid provide an overview of the types of assistance it could offer to residents?
Yes, this is Pamela Toms, Managing Attorney of the Raleigh Legal Aid. Legal aid has been assisting low-income people in Wake County for over 65 years. Our organization has a helpline. Residents may call into that helpline with their legal issue. This program focuses on eviction diversion, which means that we're trying to prevent people from losing their homes, especially during this time of COVID-19. However, legal aid provides legal assistance with a number of different legal issues, unemployment, rent issues, landlord-tenant issues, foreclosure issues. This program focuses specifically on eviction diversion. So we would represent tenants in court if necessary. We would negotiate settlements with the landlord if need be. There are a number of legal issues that center around this eviction diversion issue, and each person should just First, start with the Telemon site and register there. If you're not eligible there, then Telemon can refer those cases to Legal Aid of North Carolina. If you know that you're not eligible and you don't get the referral, our helpline can be reached at 866-219-5262, and we will screen you for eligibility there.
Great. Thank you so much, Pamela. And one more question has come in from Celeste at WUNC. She would like to ask, when do applications open for the program?
Oh, good question. And well, it's starting with this conference. This is the big rollout. So yeah, so we're going live now. So as soon as this conference is over, people can start contacting the website. They can start getting the help that they really need, and we can start getting everything going. And I should also mention too that Telemon, they are the front door for this program. So as people call in, they will screen, and we're going to be given a list of some of our other community partners. So if the program for some reason doesn't quite fit here, there are other resources we can refer people out to. As Chairman Ford mentioned, we have a lot of initiatives that are going on. The County Commission has done a phenomenal job at supporting housing and all of its needs and the general population. So we have a lot of programs out there. So again, I encourage people to look at our website and see what is available out there, because there is a lot of assistance available to folks.
Absolutely.
Hey, Dara,
Yes, sir.
David. I just want to, if Ed and Suzanne, I know we've talked a lot about how folks can access the application on the website. And Suzanne, you touched earlier on other ways, but if we could just talk about that a little more. If folks don't have access to a computer, what are other options for them to get in touch with you?
So they can call our phone number at 919-899-9911, and to remember the phone number. And we can mail an application to them. We can do an initial intake on the phone with them as well. We'll provide assistance for those who need other means of completing the application.
Great.
And we also have the assistance in both English and Spanish. That's important. So everything that's available in English is also available in Spanish.
And the website has both English and Spanish applications online as well.
And one other question that came in from Anna River is all the funding coming from the CARES Act?
At this time, yes, this is all the CARES Act funding that we're using for this program. So yeah, that's why this program is slated to provide assistance until December 30th. And that's the deadline that the federal government has given to these funds, that we need to have them expended by that. So that's why if you wonder, why do we end it in December and not go a few more months? That's why. But the program does, we're asking landlords that we're going to pay this back rent all the way back to March, half of their rent all the way back to March. And in exchange for that, please give some a break and a little bit of assistance to our tenants and reduce their rent by 25% for the months of January, February, and March, and not pursue eviction. And this is to give our renters a little financial breathing room, give them a chance to kind of get financially back on their feet, get back into the rent paying, and hopefully our economic situation will be a bit more improved by then.
And thank you, Ed. I'd like to add. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd just like to add onto Ed's comment. We, as a county, as a board, as staff, are maximizing this time frame that we have been provided by the federal government to implement this program and help as many folks as possible. However, if the federal government, in their wisdom and at their pleasure, decides to provide more flexibility, extend a deadline, provide more funding, then I feel very confident that the Board of Commissioners will continue to support this program and extend it with flexibility if we're given that opportunity, so that we can continue to help folks in Wake County beyond the end of this year. So we do hope that happens, but right now we're doing all we can with what we have.
Yes, sir. And those are all the questions from our media friends today. So I'll send it back over to you, Chairman Ford, to close us out.
All right. Thank you, Dara. Thank you all for your questions. We appreciate the media helping us get out the word about the Houseway COVID-19 eviction program, eviction prevention program. Media friends, we truly appreciate your partnership because, as mentioned earlier in this conversation, there are some folks, many folks, that don't have access to streaming internet or things like that, and so you putting out phone numbers and providing multiple ways that folks can access this program is really important. So we really appreciate that. So thank you to all of you who are joining us on this live stream. Thank you to all of our partners and everyone watching. We hope you'll spread the word too. So I hope each of you stays health and safe and that you stay that way. And thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.
Mr.